One more day to go, one more championship to be resolved. Here at Croft in North Yorkshire, it's the final round of the Swift Sport Suzuki Rallycross Championship, the one-make category that gives big action for little cars. At the end of qualifying, Simon Ovenden tops the points jointly with Rob Shield, and it's these two slugging it out for the championship. An impressive third is Tom Llewellyn, this year's junior champion, stepping up to the big league. Enough cars to justify the semi-finals. Semi-final 1 is on the grid, and on pole position, Simon Ovenden as the lights go to green. Tom Llewellyn then from the middle of the front row, taking on Dominic Flitney as the cars accelerate down towards Clairvaux. The second row, Max Weatherly and newcomer Gareth Broza, and then Matt Maxted at the back. They've got very wet conditions and lots of spray to cope with, and it is going to be Ovenden that leads the way. Now, who goes second? Because there was a brave challenge being put in there, look, by 63, Max Weatherly. He goes second and then goes sideways. Tom Llewellyn is right up behind him and looking for a way round the penduluming car of Max Weatherly. Dominic Flitney in the Flit Speed car runs fourth, make that third because he's up the inside of the chicane and he goes through. They're on the loose for the first time, 6-lap race. Track conditions very challenging indeed. They come across the loose, which is not that fast because it is very muddy, very slippery indeed. They come then through the right-hander out of checkers down towards the hairpin. There's that little bit of hard standing as they turn through the right, and then they're back on the power up towards the end of the lap. Understeering these cars is a real factor at this part of the circuit. Run out wide, you get into all the boggy earth that delays you, you lose traction, you lose momentum. And in these small engine cars, keeping up the momentum, keeping up the power all the time is absolutely crucial. Dominic Flitney comes under attack as Max Weatherly levels with him on the inside and goes through on the inside at Clairvaux. Good move that. Very sideways, can he hang on to it? He can. Bravely through on the inside, totally sideways through the corner, and Max Weatherly goes by, and now it's Dominic Flitney who loses traction and gets sideways ahead of Matt Maxted up from the back of the grid, chipping his way up the order. Up front then, Simon Ovenden leads the way. Tom Llewellyn, not a factor for the championship, but boy, would he like to put one over on the season regulars here. He's excelled in this type of car, but in the junior championship this year, and now moving up to senior rallycross for the first time, he is right there, glued to the back of Simon Ovenden's car. Ovenden is the championship leader. He has led the championship since round 2 at Lyddon. He's had 4 wins this year to the 3 of his nearest rival, Rob Shield. 10 points between them. Shield is in semi-final 2, but right now Ovenden has got his work cut out to fend off Tom Llewellyn, who's been really impressive today. Out of Clairvaux they come now through that right-hander of Hawthorn. The rain still falls, traction at a premium, but Llewellyn is getting a little bit nearer to the back of Simon Ovenden's car. Another drama for Max Weatherly. He spun coming out of, where's that, Clairvaux, I think, and he's back on track, albeit with damages. Now for the race lead, they're almost overlapping on the back straight. Tom Llewellyn on the outside line, almost hidden from the side view of Ovenden's car, but he's on the wrong line, the slower line, the longer line, down towards the hairpin, so he's going to have to tuck back in. Simon Ovenden could be making this a very good weekend for the Ovenden family. Brother Tristan on target to win the Super National crown. And here they come, over the line once more. Tom Llewellyn drops back just a little. And Simon Ovenden, with more experience in this more powerful version of the Swift compared to that, the 1 litre used in the Junior Championship, clips the curb at Clairvaux and gets sideways. Llewellyn does likewise. There is Tom Llewellyn, son of former British Rally Championship David Llewellyn, whose career stretches back to the late days of Audi Quattros, Metro 6R4s, and then for Team Toyota GB in Group A rallying. And a very proud dad he is of young Tom, who is right there on the tail of Simon Ovenden as they bounce across the loose once more. In much of his junior winning this year, Tom Llewellyn has won from the front. Here, he's got to really fight and show what racecraft he's got. And he's having a cheeky look, but there's no real gap at the hairpin, or is there? Simon Ovenden controls the pace, hangs onto the line, and now they hit the loose once more. Speed builds over the timing line, back to tarmac here. Through they come, pretty much as one. You can see how nasty the conditions are getting. If it's like that on the camera lens, just imagine what it must be like inside the car. You've got the rain, you've got the spray, especially if you're Llewellyn in second place. There's also the risk of condensation and the car steaming up, so life is very challenging indeed. Llewellyn, though, totally focused on the brake lights ahead of him of Simon Ovenden as they thread their way once again onto the loose here. Llewellyn is back on the power. Very sideways, though, is Dominic Flitney. Pushing, and he has got Matt Maxted up behind him now. Through they turn, heading to the loose, as down towards the end of the lap comes the charging battle for the race lead. Simon Ovenden is just keeping Llewellyn at bay here. Together they run through the corner, now back onto the power. There you've got Dominic Flitney fending off Matt Maxted. But Tom Llewellyn still trying oh so hard to find a way through into the race lead. He won 7 out of 8 rounds of the Junior Championship this year. He won 4 out of 4 in the Junior Championship last season. So he's got this amazing win rate. And there could be another race win on the cards here. He's on the back of Ovenden, still really pushing on. Dominic Flitney continues to fend off Matt Maxted here. Through they turn, up towards the right-hander of Hawthorne, where it's oh so slippery, and here, once again, look, comes Llewellyn to have a go at Ovenden. Simon, who debuted in these cars last year and was the runner-up in the championship, eager to go one better, but he's having a real race on his hands here. Tom Llewellyn right there behind him. The fascination for Tom's career is what happens next, rallycross or rallying, but right now he is focused on one thing, and that's winning this race. He's quicker on the loose surface there, and he's almost up alongside as they start the last lap, but Ovenden has got the experience just to fend him off. Back they go to tarmac, and looking ever more dog-eared here is Max Weatherly's car, or what's left of it. This is the new lightweight version with the big bike missing out of the front right corner. Across the loose he comes now. Remember, he had a big spin early on. Right, Llewellyn running out of options here for the race win, although crucially he wants to make sure he gets into the final. Through the chicane they come, through the right, through the left. They're on the loose section, and this is where Llewellyn has been very, very strong, almost too strong this time because he's so quick. There was no gap, and he went into the back of Ovenden's car. He needs the inside line for this next right-hander, but Simon Ovenden has covered that with a tight line. Llewellyn bounces sideways. They come down to the hairpin, and it looks as though Simon Ovenden has got this one in the bag now. He turns his way through the right-hander, he's on the power, he's up through the gears, the checkered flag awaits, and semi-final one has been a ripper race, but it's going to be won just by Simon Ovenden. Tom Llewellyn takes second, and there's nothing to choose between them at the flag. Just over a fifth of a second between Simon Ovenden and Tom Llewellyn, with Dominic Flitney third on the last qualifier being Matt Maxted. Semi-final 2 is ready to race here at Croft. The Swift Sport Rallycross Championship runners go! The lights blink green, and Rob Shield, the man who could take the crown away from Simon Ovenden, rockets away from pole. Morgan Bailey with him at the front, Rob Maynard on the outside of row 1, and it's Don McLeod and Terry Lewis, the newcomer, on the second row of the grid as they head into Clairvaux. Rob Shield clips the curve, and he will lead the way here. Now what he's going to try and do is build a bigger gap as he possibly can. He doesn't want to have a busy race, particularly like Simon Ovenden did, but he's wrong up at Hawthorne. He goes wide, and he leaves the door open. Straight away, he's in jeopardy as Terry Lewis heads towards the loose for the first time in the Peter Gwynn Motorsport Run Arrive and Drive entry. So Rob Shield loses the lead. Morgan Bailey it is who takes over the race lead on this opening lap. The former autograsser, real specialist in a Mini before he came into Rallycross for this season. The 18-year-old from North Lincolnshire leading semi-final 2, and right there behind him is Rob Shield, son of British champion Michael Shield. He's done some circuit racing in his time, but here Rob coming into a full season for the first time of Rallycross. He's acquitted himself well, but he might not win the championship. Let's see. All of that hinges on what happens in the final race of the season for these cars. They've got to get through this semi-final, though, to determine the 4 qualifiers. Through Clairvaux, Morgan Bailey, who's been getting better and better and better as the season has gone on, leads the way, but right there behind him and giving him a nudge is Rob Shield, and that fires Bailey sideways. Rob Shield tries to get up the inside. Morgan Bailey just hangs on to it, though, as they head up towards the chicane. Rob Shield then being aggressive in his approach. It's not quite worked for him. He might actually have just backed out of that slightly, to give him credit, because had he had the contact and got the race lead, the clerk of the course may well have wanted to reverse the positions. So better to back out of it and fight another day, fight another lap. Here he comes down to the hairpin. So Morgan Bailey still leads. Rob Shield in second spot, but the danger is he's giving away pace over these semi-finals to quick cars. Remember how good Ovenden and Llewellyn looked in semi-final 1. Here is Morgan Bailey looking quicker as well in semi-final 2. Over the line they come now. Back onto the tarmac and down towards Clairvaux, through the water, through the spray, through the grime lying on the road. Rob Shield on the power a little early there. The back breaks away, but he corrects it. But he'll lose a length, will he? Yep. He drops back slightly as they go up towards the chicane. These two getting well clear of Rob Maynard now, running in 3rd spot. Rob Maynard, who has done quite a bit of Suzuki Swift racing in the past, back for a full season this year after a couple of events in 2016. He's not got the outright pace of the 2 race leaders, and again Rob Shield absolutely on the limit as they come down through checkers, but he runs out of road and drifts a little bit wide, so he can't make his move there. Still looking strong up front is Morgan Bailey, and dare one say this is the best performance we have seen out of him all year. Ex-RX 150 racer Don McLeod, the border officer, he goes through at the back of the pack. The Deal resident onto the tarmac and down now towards Clairvaux as Rob Shield at Hawthorne hooks a wheel up the curb. Morgan Bailey is sideways, Shield up the inside, is there room? He's halfway alongside him, he'll have the inside for the chicane and through he goes. A mistake by Bailey reverses the positions then. Rob Shield goes through and takes over the race lead. Across the loose they come then, bouncing their way now down towards that right-hander, coming towards the final sequence on the loose down at Checkers Corner. But there you can see behind, hard at work. Morgan Bailey wants that race lead back. Can he apply the pressure and force a mistake out of Rob Shield? Over the loose once more, back towards the tarmac. There's Don McLeod still busy battling. He needs to be in the top 4 to qualify. I fear he's falling away a little bit too much here. Rob Shield is sideways coming out of Clairvaux. Up towards Hawthorne once more. The road is slippery. The tarmac as much as the loose section now, and the hardy fans braving the elements to watch these semi-finals are being treated now to the sight of Rob Shield getting away. He goes through the chicane and he's on the power once more. As they head along the loose section, that gap is stretching between the top 2. Down they come now in towards the hairpin. Morgan Bailey just losing out a little bit onto the hard standing, turn through the right-hander and then hit the loose once more. 76 is Rob Maynard, effectively the best of the rest here, but I'm afraid to say there's no chance of him catching the top 2. What he wants to do is stay in that top 4 if he can and go through into the next round of the competition. Terry Lewis, newcomer to the Swift this weekend, learning all the time and pushing hard. He's onto the loose now as he bounces his way towards the timing line. There through is Morgan Bailey. So having led the early stages of this semi-final, not only did he lose the lead, you can see how much time he's lost and effectively how much he was holding up Rob Shield, because as soon as Rob has been released, he has remorselessly pulled away. It's going to be a fascinating final, a fascinating championship showdown. Shield 10 points back on Simon Ovenden. Rob Shield up towards the checkered flag. He is going to win semi-final 2. Rob Shield comes across the line to win. It's Morgan Bailey, early race leader, who takes 2nd place. And Rob Maynard battles his way through the last corner and heads up now towards the checkered flag. Up through the gears, over the timing line, and Rob Maynard goes through. Rob Shield wins from Morgan Bailey and Rob Maynard. Don McLeod takes 4th. He will qualify Terry Lewis, the one who misses out. The final for the Swift Sport Rallycross Championship is about to get underway. Simon Ovenden is the man on pole position with Rob Shield and Tom Llewellyn alongside him. Morgan Bailey and Dominic Flitney row 2. Rob Maynard and Don McLeod with Matt Maxted at the back of the grid. We are ready to go racing as the lights blink green. Remember, it is Ovenden versus Shield for the championship. 10 points between them. So Rob Shield needs to win and try and get as many cars as he can between him and Simon Ovenden. They're leaning on each other down towards Clairvaux, but it's Tom Llewellyn who grabs the race lead. Tom Llewellyn has the advantage. Shield goes wide and spins across the front, clips the tyres, round he goes, and that's the championship hope over and done with. Ovenden survives and Rob Shield gets going again, but right at the back of the pack. They work their way now across the loose for the first time, and Tom Llewellyn getting away up front. Here's the battle for second place. Simon Ovenden versus Morgan Bailey. As long as Ovenden is ahead of Shield, he is the champion, so he can afford to let Bailey by. And Morgan Bailey sets off in pursuit of Tom Llewellyn as they come down towards the hairpin now. Now, where is Rob Shield in all of this? There he is, trying to play catch-up. Matt Maxted chases after Dominic Flitney. Maxted in the red car. He's ahead of Rob Maynard, look. But as the race leaders come back onto the tarmac, looking good up front is Tom Llewellyn. Remember, this is his first weekend in senior rallycross. Wouldn't this be a great way for the junior champion to round out the season? A very sideways Dominic Flitney wobbles his way out of Clairvaux. A very sideways Morgan Bailey flings the car out of Hawthorns. Rob Maynard there heads towards the loose through the chicane, and then as you come out of the chicane, you deviate towards the loose part of the circuit. Onto the back straight goes Dominic Flitney, the race prep man, keeping Matt Maxted at bay for the moment at least. Through they turn, heading now towards the hard standing of the hairpin. Just wondering whether it might, he says, hoping against hope, be brightening up a little bit here. Are conditions improving? Even if they do dry out, it's still a very slippy and boggy infield. It's going to take a long time to dry and a long time for the speed to increase. You can see how much water there is lying on the ground. The spray from Morgan Bailey's car thrown into the face of Simon Ovenden. Tom Llewellyn, though, doing a tremendous job up front and getting away from the opposition. Morgan Bailey flings the car sideways. He did that when he was leading semi-final 2, and it was pretty much his undoing. Into the chicane he turns. Simon Ovenden, though, doing exactly the right thing to win a championship, as Rob Maynard has had a spin at Hawthorn and gets going again now. Across the loose comes Morgan Bailey, the ex-autograsser, fending off Simon Ovenden, who realises that as long as he's ahead of his main rival, the job is virtually done. He doesn't have to be a hero, he just has to bank the points, and that is what he's on target for doing here. Dominic Flitney goes through, keeping Matt Maxted at bay behind him, as now they sprint towards the tarmac, and look at the lead that Llewellyn has managed to build up here. Dominic Flitney goes through. Flitney, who has been there or thereabouts towards the second half of the season. But Morgan Bailey hanging on to second spot, and that could be, therefore, the best result of the season for him to round out the championship year. Chris Woollett, missing this weekend, he was the winner here at the start of the season, after which his season just bit by bit started to unravel, really, as others got faster and tended to overhaul him. But we've had this great season with 4 wins to Simon Ovenden and 3 to Rob Shield, but it could be 1 to Tom Llewellyn come the end of the final here. Rob Maynard playing catch-up after his earlier spin, and he's nearly back in the mix here. Simon Ovenden turns out of the hairpin. The Ovenden family could be having an enormous party this weekend. Tristan, champion-elect in Super National, and looking as though he's champion-elect in the Swifts is Simon, his brother. Over the line they come. Back to the tarmac. There, Rob Maynard comes up to have a go at Don McLeod, who ran a little bit wide out of the hairpin. But now that he's back onto the line, so the speed increases, and you saw the way that Maynard drifted wide and therefore slowed because he got into all of the mire on the outside line. The one line across the loose, therefore, is the smoother and the cleaner and the quicker. Sideways to the loose, Simon Ovenden. He's losing touch with Morgan Bailey, but he's still ahead of Rob Shield, and that is what matters in all of this. He might yet be caught by Dominic Flitney and Matt Maxted, but Simon Ovenden is banking the points here. You can see the way that Bailey has got away from him, and it's looking very good indeed now. Simon Ovenden for the championship turns his way through the hairpin. Tom Llewellyn comes through to start the last lap ahead of Morgan Bailey. Their third is Simon Ovenden. He is being caught a little by the battle between Flitney and Maxted, but I don't think they're necessarily going to catch him. There is Morgan Bailey on target for second, his best finish of the season. But Tom Llewellyn, what a debut in senior rallycross. Rob Maynard battles on lower down the order. He has recovered after that spin and he's chipping his way into contention. But Tom Llewellyn has arrived with a bang this weekend. Rob Shield presses on. He has caught up to Matt Maxted, but that spin on the opening lap has really done for him. Rob Maynard turns his way out of Clairvaux and up towards Hawthorne. And on a very muddy circuit indeed, turns right towards the loose. Checkered flag is at the ready. Tom Llewellyn, this year's junior rallycross champion, wins in the senior Swifts as well. What a debut. Morgan Bailey comes through for second. And then Simon Ovenden is on target to win the Swift Sport Rallycross Championship as he blasts his way across the line. What a season he has had. 4 victories and a championship title as well. The race results confirm a win, and what a win for Tom Llewellyn by 6 seconds from Morgan Bailey. Simon Ovenden third from Dom Flitney, Matt Maxted, and Rob Shield down in 6th ahead of Rob Maynard and Don McLeod. Well done, Simon Ovenden. He takes the championship by 14 points from Rob Shield. Morgan Bailey third at the end of a great Swift season.